Hello, my name's Anton Browne. I'm here at the Brit School and I'm going to do a video on SOVT exercises. That stands for Semi-Occluded Vocal Tract, or partially blocked or obstructed, if you like, vocal tract. There are many exercises, and as my great-grandfather used to say, let us investigate these things together. So, what are we talking about? Talking about some exercises you may know. Lip and tongue trills, cup phonation, which I had to look up, straw phonation, humming, fricatives. Let me give you a definition which I got from a dictionary, I think. It says that these are semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, SOVT they're called, involve partially occluding or blocking or obstructing the vocal tract, I'm going to say pipe if you like, to create back pressure that helps the folds to vibrate more efficiently. I'm going to question everything, not because I think it's necessarily wrong, but just so that we can understand. So it helps them vibrate more efficiently. What does that mean? Tell you what I think that means. You know, you have a car engine. Some are more efficient than others. In other words, you get more of what you're after, which is travel, distance, for the energy you put in, which is a fuel. So I'm thinking in this sense it means that the muscular activity, you get more of what you want, which is sound, vibration, for the amount of effort. I'm going to assume it means that. Goes on to say, these various exercises, which we're going to go through. Now, I've been doing some work for the University of Cambridge, which I hope will continue in September. So I looked up Cambridge University Hospital, which has this description regarding these sorts of exercises. It says, helps release excess tension from the muscles that you use to produce your voice. So I guess that's the efficiency thing. It says, improves abdominal breathing and awareness of diaphragmatic movement. But I'm going to say, only if you do that. Doesn't necessarily in and of itself, but if you do it well. This is going to be a recurring theme, which we're going to look at. It says, build the air pressure below the vocal cords to enable them to come together with less muscular effort. This helps to reduce potential for strain in and above the larynx. I'm going to say once again, providing you do that, providing you do the exercise well. So again, we're looking at efficiency perhaps, and then it says, build vocal strength and stamina. I've got the word here, brunt. Brunt. A student said it once, that if you like, these exercises take the brunt of the air pressure rather than this, depending how you do it again, of course. But with semi-occluded, that takes the brunt of what you're doing and leaves this free to vibrate. Of course, we always have to remember that when we come to sing, we're going to open all this up. So you might be wondering, well, what's the point of that then? But I think there is a point. What else have I got from other people I've been looking at? Somebody said, well, breath control helps with breath control. I think you have to be careful, because once you open this, your breath control's gone. If you're using this for breath control, it's no good, because you can't do it when you sing. So you have to be very aware of, if you like, controlling the breath beneath this. I think that's important. One person went on to say, balanced compression. Yeah, but once again, whilst you're doing it, because this takes the compression, controls the compression, I think that's what one have to be careful of. Not relying on this, because you can't rely on it when you sing. So what's the point in that sense? Okay, what I think I'm going to do is go through them And we'll see the ones I can. I'm not going to do the cup phonation, but I'll explain what I think. I think it's fairly similar to straw. There's some differences. I'm not going to do humming. It is semi-occluded if you like, but I've already done a video on humming. I don't think myself that that's the main virtue of humming, because it's not occluded enough. If you want the occluded thing, you're better off with the others, it seems to me. If I do this, I'll turn away from the mic because I don't want to put a compressor. It looks quite low, actually. Oh well. If I do this, ha, ha, I'm aware of some back pressure, but not much. If I do this, depending on the aperture here, yeah, I'm certainly aware of some back pressure. If I do this, I'm aware of massive back pressure. It's a small straw. If I use my slightly larger straw, not so much back pressure. This, back pressure somewhere between these two. But humming, not much. So I think that if you want the back pressure, then I think you're better off with some of the other exercises. So let's look at the lip and tongue trills. I've got something here which I think is important with all these actually, which I've lost, but I can remember it anyway because I know it very well. It's like think through, not at. Think through, not at, when it comes to this. Because if I'm doing this, or I don't think so. I'm doing that. That's not the point. So thinking through, I'm thinking of sending through, and I'm kind of aiming really out there, and I'm aware of this. I'm aware of the obstruction, and I'm thinking through the obstruction, and I'm ignoring this. This just flutters in the breeze, is what I say. Well, tongue and lip trills then. I've done a video on this before, I think, but anyway. I think, firstly, they're a monitor. Keeps you attuned, paying attention to the flow. Because what's going to cause a lip or a tongue trill to fail? Well, not enough air. Simply not enough. Tension. If I give it more air, but I get tight, it'll cause it to fail. So it's like an alarm. So what I'm thinking of then, not even so much thinking, but once I've thought it through and I'm now feeling, is I'm aware with the back pressure that this feels like that. And then I can sneak the voice in, but not pay attention to it. All the time thinking through. Things to watch out for. Grabbing as you go through different pitches. So if I do this, it stopped. Why is that? I'm still putting the air through. It stopped because I went like this. It started to squeeze here, so the airflow past this was insufficient to vibrate the lips. That's why I'm saying think through. Doesn't matter if you yodel and wobble, I think, to start with. Don't worry about it. Some guys haven't got their falsetto, hasn't recovered yet from their voice breaking. So I said, never mind. Carry on through gently doing that. And if your voice goes like this, just see if you can just gently paint through. And as your voice heals, recovers from breaking, which can take years, it seems to me sometimes, you've still gone there. You've diffused the kind of scary bit of that area of your voice. You've used the muscles. You've kind of imagined it, even though it's not really there yet. So as it starts to come back, you're hitting the ground running, seems to me. Anything else to watch out? So yeah, so watch out for squeezing there. That could be why it's failing. I think that these exercises come from classical. I think most of them do. So here's a subtle couple of things about these. One is I think they naturally tend to be forward. It's difficult to go, or it's not so easy to be, or natural to be, brrr, brrr, to put them back. It tends to want to be brrr, 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 with that nasal resonance. The other thing you can look at is opening from the tongue trill to a vowel, and what you'll notice is you get perhaps a bigger sound than you might use, particularly for pop. I mean, particularly a bigger sound than you might use for pop. So if we get this, and I do the same thing but open, ah. If I use maybe a more pop sound, maybe I use a pop sound, maybe I use a pop sound. Maybe I'll use brr, 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 brr. I can't do it because it's not enough. So bear that in mind. Got to play with these things and see if they work for you. So that one might fail if you're not using a robust enough approach. Difference between tongue and lip. I haven't really noticed any myself. Some people can't do one or the other. Some people can't do either. Then you can use a fricative or one of the others, or straw or something. So that's the lip and tongue trills as far as I can tell from my experience. That's what they're about. And then go on to a vowel and so on. But you might find it quite, as I say, quite a robust sound. Yes, you probably noticed, I noticed it before I did those, because I knew the amount of air it was going to take, because I'm used to it. You get that going on, because I know I'm going to need a lot. So that's what the man said. What was it? About vocal strength and stamina. No, something about improve abdominal breathing and awareness. Diaphragmatic movement. Of course, not necessarily, because if you breathe here, it's not abdominal. You still need it. You can still do it. So that's what I'm saying. You've got to be a little bit careful. You've got to notice what you're doing. And all these things don't necessarily apply if you're not doing them well, or not doing them as suggested. What else have we got? Cup phonation. I'll just explain what that is from what I saw online. So it's having a cup which fits around here with a little hole in it, and you can adjust the size of the hole, and you put it on there. But it seems to me you could use your hand. I'm just thinking about that. Put it on there, and it gives yourself a little bit of a back pressure. It's very difficult with your hand. Difficult with your hand to get enough sealing closure, really. It's too much air is escaping from all over the place. So you do that, and you do your exercise, and you sing with the cup, making sure it seems to me to be quite a bit of faff. But anyway, experiment with it. See what you think. Straw phonation, which is relatively new to me. I've lost my straws. Oh, they're here. Relatively new to me. Many videos on it. What's my experience? Well, I carry these around, different diameters. You can probably see internal diameters, of course, yeah, not and external, but internal as well. And yeah, I use fricatives. I do use these, and with the water, you can check this out online. I'm just going to give you my experience of it. You can use the water. What it does, yeah, it is mesmeric. Is that a word? Gets a bit messy. This one, smaller one. Yeah, you can use it without the water. This one I have to work very hard because it's a very narrow internal diameter. This one is slightly wider. I've got several of them. They're bamboo. I quite like it. I reuse them. I don't know if that's not hygienic, but it's only me. Yeah, and they don't bend, and I'm thinking it's environmentally friendly because obviously they're going to last forever-ish. I've got some at home. I'm going to go get a bag of them. It's quite a few. They're all different sizes though. So, of course, with this larger one, I can put my finger there and adjust the aperture. You probably hear when I put my finger there, you could hear the air, and there's more pressure. So that's useful. For me, it's a distraction from this, because it's all very here, and it's here, and this distraction is, again, keeps me thinking through. And I like to play with it. It's good fun, so I do them sometimes, just for fun, just for something different. Try to keep things fun and interesting. A little bit of play. Play is a very good thing. It's a very good energy, isn't it? So there's that. Check out the straw one. So I do use that. I carry them around. But my main things have been what are called fricatives, which are these. What I like about them is you don't have to carry anything. It's here. You can adjust the aperture. It's just here. You don't have to carry a cup. You don't have to carry that. Maybe the cup's nice. It's distraction. It keeps you there. Maybe the straws are nice. Seems to me a lot of singing exercises and things. There's a lot of new stuff comes out, and actually, well, not just singing exercises. Well, microphones are my thing. A lot of new stuff comes out, and I'm thinking, is it any better from that? But it's different, and we all like a bit of different, as I say. It keeps it interesting, maybe. These are quite useful. What did somebody say? Breath control. Let me go through some of those things. Breath control. Well, of course, if I do this, first of all, make sure, again, I say, a stress, that you're not grabbing here. With these, don't grab here. With these as well, if you want breath control, as I've just done my great confusion, check that out, video on breathing. If you're using this to control the breath, effectively, which you are, or you might be just pushing against it, then the moment you open your mouth, it's gone. So is that developing your breath control? I can't see that it is. It's you pushing against this aperture. All gone. So whilst it creates that, which is good, watch out for the breath control. If you want to develop breath control, I'd say back off the pressure and do this. So there, I'm controlling the air with the muscles of inspiration and expiration. And I'm developing that control, not relying on the straw. I could use a straw for what? I'm using the straw maybe to monitor the sound. But I'd say with that, you're probably better off without the straw, because you've got to, the aperture's got to be just right for the pitch and blah, 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 and you're going to get the right one. So I'd just say use this. So when I open my mouth, the breath doesn't all come out because it's already been controlled. That's developing breath control, it seems to me. You could put a pitch on there if you want. Pitch may change as you open because of the slight back pressure. So I'm not sure about developing breath control, but anyway, think for yourself, look at it. It's not rocket science, really. Figure it out for your own self. I think we're about done. One other thing you could use them for, either, I think, the straw, not with the water, I suggest, because it's going to go all over the place if you do. You'll see why in a minute. Certainly the fricatives. I don't think the cup would really apply. I'm not sure the trills would really apply, though you could use them, but not so vigorously. So with the fricatives, is for working these abdominal muscles, really for your breathing, against this. It's quite pleasant as well. You get a bit of opening there. Again, thinking through, not at. Could you use a straw? I'm sure you could. So if you wanted to really work that dynamic breathing, you can use these. This gives you something to work against. Being careful not to get caught up here. Obviously, you can imagine if you put this in water and did that, it would be all over the place. So I wouldn't recommend that. To sum up then, what they're really about, it seems to me, or one of the first main things they're about, is providing some back pressure. That back pressure takes the brunt off the vocal folds, also gives a bit of space here, you'll notice. And I think the thought I would have was whatever it is you've got here is that you're aiming at that, through that, and that this gets to flutter in the breeze, takes the pressure off it. And you get used to doing that, and you get used to the consistency of putting the air through and the direction of the air without overdoing it and not aiming at this, but allowing this to have its way. I think that's the gist of it. Okay, let me know if you've got any ideas in the comments, if I've got anything wrong, or you see it differently, whatever. I'll see you next time.